I'd like you to imagine for a moment that you refuse to acknowledge the reality of sleep. When it suggests itself, you resist, perhaps by plunging into feverish work or play, perhaps by chemical stimulants. So sleep, which attunes us to the cyclic flow of day and night, which is a time of restoration, even transformation. Sleep becomes a hidden specter of fearsome proportions, signifying only loss. For sleep, now substitute dying, something which is also constantly in process, something which happens everywhere, every day. How much of its fearsomeness is due to our insistence that it stay hidden? How many of our forays into activity are retreats into anesthesia? Our efforts to deny a specter of our own making? Could it be that living with dying on a day-to-day basis, like living with sleep, could actually enhance our lives? In the course of a given day, we talk of many things, as Lewis Carroll said, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings. We rarely talk of death. This film will. In a way, our brilliant efforts in the field of medicine have raised the death rate. It used to be just one per person. Now we have that strange, ambivalent expression, the near-death experience. Finding that it is an experience of life.
Okay, we got the leads on. We're going into VTAC. I want 50 of lidocaine, and I want it now. I want an amp of bicarb. We're heading into VFib. I want 200 watt seconds on that defibrillator, and I want it now. Let's go. Yes, please. Hurry up, we're losing her.
Clear the bed. Okay, clear.
Still in VFib, 360 watt seconds, please.
Clear the bed.
360.
Come on, we're losing her. I want an amp of epi, an amp of calcium, an amp of bicarb. Start CPR.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and bicarb. 1 and 2 and 3.
We're asystolic. We're losing her.
I could see the doctors trying to revive me. I found myself carried through a long tunnel toward a radiant light. The light was a person. I have never felt so completely known, so completely loved.
Hold compressions. We have a pulse.
Yet I knew I had to return.
We have a pulse. We're saving her. We're getting her back.
It is intriguing how our technologic course is leading to a kind of rediscovery. Old, widespread, ordinary wisdom in a very different setting. wisdom that defies the literal. Imaging a lively world of spirit. A world of freedom. A world of homely life and love. A world of music. A world of wisdom. A world of subtle order. In many ways, a cryptic world, whose portals seem forbidding. Descriptions of the passage leave us wondering, the way beyond, the way within? The evidence suggests that these two ways are one. The visions of our past, the witness of our fathers, the testimony of our present, all converge. Brief forays past the physical horizon, brief glimpses of the other side of life, too frequent and consistent to ignore, too lovely, it might seem, to be believed. And yet, to those who have experienced, that loveliness, that light and love transcend all argument and doubt. And still, both fear of death and fear of life.
Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits.
Are life and death perhaps so much alike that fear of one is fear of both?
Life and death, blessing and cursing.
And we, are we so wedded to some law of opposites? So wedded to our vegetable selves, we cannot talk of death experience? What is to live? Not merely motion. Living means connectedness, involvement in a flow. Life is change and growth. Quiescence. Sleep. And waking to new growth. Life does mean change and growth, but even more, to live is sensitivity. Response. To live is purpose. Process
Lord,
through the
hast been our
years.
dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world.
Living means to join the process of the
Thou art
ages,
God. For 1,000
sharing in
years, thy
arrivals
sight
and
abideth
departures.
yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts to wisdom.
What is to live? Living is sustained by what has died, one form yielding to another through the mystery of death. Life is constant transformation. But death denied becomes a whitened screen on which we project our fears. What do we discover when we face these fears? Connectedness. Relationships essential to our very being. It is as though, inherently, we tend to live and move in company. In this regard, we walk a path of change, joining, parting, and rejoining in perpetual procession. The changeless, rich continuum of moving generations. This does not happen in some abstract space, some emptiness. We live, it seems, in earthy context, day to day, sustained by cloud and land and sky. And if we trace the widening spheres of interactive life, we see horizons, limits to our own perspective. The first clear boundary we find is that which circumscribes our planet, Earth. That line whose unseen round transforms the constancy of sun and moon to images of birth and death. The rising and the setting, strange distortions, celestial shifting hues. That constancy surrounds and undergirds our lives. Striking elegance of light. The subtle pull of tides. The energies that intersect to make our little planet what it is. But we can rarely grasp and never wholly live this small totality. We feel at home with closer boundaries. To live, to interact, we must discriminate. Extract the data that we want, the partial truth that serves our present purposes. We make our diagrams, those maps that witness to our interests. Maps so different from the flow they symbolize. We tend to focus on one aspect and exclude the rest, to draw our lines which catch at truth, but literally in themselves are lies, denying flow and change, imposing our simplicities upon the seamless whole. We draw our boundaries also in the flow of time, inventing soon and late, quick and slow, and most unnatural, unwelcome. Stop. Devising limits meant to serve our needs that all too easily solidify and rule our lives. Yet, if we use them well, these boundaries grant us special moments in the constant flow of time. They help us to see the limits of our own accountability. Enable us to see what span of human life is ours to tend. We learn to mark off segments in a world of never-ending change. To see the richness of these times. To see the narrowing and widening of our now. And as the lines we draw reflect our values, so too our deeds show outlines of our purpose. Our shadows of our inner substance falling on a world of circumstance. Our bodies, shadows of our souls. Yet we forget a shadow's shape depends in part on where it falls. At best, it may suggest the substance, not portray it. We can observe how live, how real we are within. The deathlessness of love. Small wonder, then, that fear of death and fear of life are one. The shadows are so fleeting, and the light so subtly vast. Small wonder, too, that death experience allays both fears. We can awaken to the unity of light and shade and find that transformation is our image of eternity. We ourselves are in procession. Years need not be barriers to human thought and feeling. Bygone ages can still speak to us. We can, of course, be literal about the little boundaries that our bodies draw around our souls, the little boxes we build around our lives. We can make our boundaries absolute. We can build them of hostility and fear, and thought can stultify and love grow cold. This death is of our making and need not be. In countless ways our thoughts and feelings interact. So constantly we are within each other. So normally transcending time and space, with thought and feeling as our deeper substance. Life can grow with age and reach beyond the fading walls of flesh, can know that death is but the other side of life. We may be simply intersections in the web of life. And as we meet our deeper selves, we know the vanishing of arbitrary boundaries, release from ambiguities. We find in shade a witness to the constancy of light and move into a realm of clarity and substance. Love and understanding wed. Immortal. Every part of us that is sensitive and alive is spirit. And everything in us from head to toe is alive and sensitive. That is why, when the body is separated from the spirit, which is called dying, we are still ourselves and still alive. Emanuel Swedenborg.